Welcome to A3Noonas K-Pop podcast. In today's episode, Amy, Allison, and Amber are going to step away from K-Pop and talk about K-Dramas or Asian television shows. We will explain how we got into K-Dramas, what type of dramas we mostly watch, and discuss our top 3 most rewatched dramas, plus much more in episode 5 of A3Noonas K-Pop podcast. Oh, and if you haven't subscribed to us, please subscribe and like our YouTube channel, which is at A3Noonas, or if you listen to this on a podcast platform like Spotify, please give us a follow. Also, follow us on our social medias. We have an Instagram, Twitter, and a TikTok. Videos coming soon to TikTok. And you can follow us at A3Noonas. Again, welcome to episode 5 of A3Noonas, where fangirling comes to life.
And welcome back to A3Noonas K-Pop podcast. We're back with episode 5, and we have me, I'm Amy, so hello everyone, and then we have Allison.
Hello. I don't know why I'm waving. You can't see me, but hey, I just waved, so hello.
And we also have our K-Pop Yoda, Amber.
Sorry.
Hello. I'm going to have to start doing Yoda sayings now.
Exactly. So how's everybody doing this week?
Good.
Good.
It's not too bad. Yeah, been busy.
We sound so enthused.
We
are enthused, though, but yeah, work stinks. But we're all happy by Saturday because then we get to do this. So it's much better. So actually, even though it is a K-pop podcast, we are going to talk about a new topic and something that is dear to all 3 of us, but more closely to like me and Allie because it's part of like our daily routine. But the topic, drum roll. Anyone got a drum? There you go. We're going to talk about Korean dramas or simply K-dramas. And today we're going to focus on how the 3 of us started to watch Korean dramas, or Asian television, why we love dramas, and what our favorite dramas are. And then what type of dramas each of us likes to watch. And we'll include where you can watch some dramas that we suggested throughout this which platforms. And before we get started, if you're enjoying our podcast so far, please like and subscribe and follow us at A3Noonas on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and all podcast platforms like Spotify. Not sponsored. No, I'm just kidding. Didn't that sound? But we will be back in about 15 seconds or so, and then we're going to dive into our main topic of K-dramas. Take it away, music.
Hello and welcome. We are back. All right. For anyone who is listening and do not know what K-dramas are, we're going to talk about them and we're going to give you a brief description of what K-drama is, before we get into why we like them, how we got into them, and suggest certain K-dramas that you can watch that we like. So Korean dramas, or aka K-dramas, are television shows that are aired in the Korean language that focuses on a main theme for each show. Korean dramas are often one season and contain more over-the-top dramatic ways to deal with issues in the show. Korean dramas do have different genres, such as action, historical, romance, just like Western television. Korean dramas do have a specific style that you do not see in Western television. Like they have the second lead syndrome, which is very big in a lot of romance dramas on there. Excuse me. They have the rich versus poor, and this is done a lot in dramas. Historical and Korean history type dramas, which of course you won't see in Western television, but they have a lot of those. Sexual scenes or intimacy are very PG to PG 13. Now, on side note, Korean movies are rated R, and yes, they do have type of, if you call soft core rated stuff. I'm trying to.
That apparently I need to find me some Korean movies.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I'm trying to be politically correct with that. But yes, they do have, more adult in their movies, but Korean dramas are very PG to PG 13, even maybe PG 16. Western television shows, oh, sorry, compared to Western television shows,
Hey, Allison, your phone dipped, and all I can see is the top of your eyes now.
Oh, jeez.
Or did you go back? She looks like she's like the guy from Home Improvement.
No, I don't know what happened. Hold on.
Hello, neighbor.
Hello, neighbor.
Jeez. So I was saying, sexual scenes in Korean dramas are very PG to PG 13. Sometimes they even rate it PG 15 or PG 19. But still, to us in Western television, they're like PG 13. They are famous for the non-movement kiss, meaning they just come together and their face just touch with their lips touch and they don't move. They do have a lot of transition type story types from ugly to pretty or fat to thin. They have a lot of music monologues. If you remember back in the 80s in Western television, they had a lot of music monologues where people start reminiscing about the past. Well, Korean dramas are famous for that, or self-reflection scenes, evil mother or father-in-law. And also another thing about Korean dramas, they're short, one season, depending on type of drama. Most dramas are typically 12 to 20 episodes. Some can be a little more or shorter. But daily dramas that show Monday through Friday are over 100 plus episodes, or Chinese dramas are a lot more than 12 to 20. They're about 50 episodes if you like Chinese dramas. And then also they have drama specials, similar to what the Western used to have, like Saturday afternoon specials. They used to have those little TV shows or drama specials. Well, Korea does have that, and they do it a lot. And also, violence is shown different in Korean dramas. Anything that has an open wound or human remains, unless it's like a skeleton, is blurred out. So if somebody has a big gaping gash or something, you will not see it. Or even if somebody has like a cut that's not bad, sometimes they will blur it out. Knives are blurred out. So if somebody's about to stab somebody with the knife is blurred out. Now, they have made mistakes where you see the knife in one scene and the next scene it gets blurred out, but hey, they normally do that. However, guns are not blurred out. The main reason is you cannot access a gun really in Korea freely like you do in most Western parts of the world. Well, mainly here, like in the US, you can see guns, get guns and stuff. Even the police officers over there in Korea do not carry guns. The people who do carry guns are detectives. So that's why they let people see them, because it's not an easy access thing. Of course, the military people and stuff have guns. OST, or original soundtracks, are just as important to the drama as the drama itself. Those are the things that make the drama. They advertise the original soundtracks just like they advertise the dramas, and the original soundtrack comes in different parts, depending on when the song is played on the drama. And also, there's a whole lot more things that distinguish Korean or Asian television from Western counterparts. But we'll talk about that probably in another episode. All right. So I'm going to let Amber take it away with the next section.
All right. So with the foundation of what a K-drama is, let's talk about how we each got into K-dramas. Amy, why don't you start us out?
Okay, well, so I'll be truthful. So I was really bored one day, and I was searching Netflix for something to watch. And when I was reading like through the synopsis and everything on Netflix, you see like a cute little thumbnail, and I saw like a cute guy, and I thought, okay, well, this looks good. So I clicked on it. Well, Netflix doesn't always tell you if you're watching an English um an English picture or if you're watching, Spanish or Korean or anything else. I mean, there's everything. So all of a sudden, subtitles come up. Like, and I'm like, "Whoa, what is this?" And I was like, "Okay." I'm like, "How am I going to like understand what I'm watching? Like get into it and still read the bottom?" But I'm like, "Well, I'll give it a go." So, the first drama I ever watched was Tomorrow's Cantable, and that was on Netflix. And I'm pretty sure it came out in 2014, but I think I watched it in 2015 because it would have been right on the heels of my, K-pop love. And I would have been like, cool, these, it's like hand in hand. Plus, I knew that Amber watched K dramas too. So I was like, I'll check this out because, what would Amber do? I should get like a wristband or something. So I figured, let's go for it. Um, so I just fell in love with the whole genre and the culture. Like I just couldn't get enough Korean exposure. So I was like, dramas are like the next step. It's like K-pop's like a gateway drug to dramas, basically. Um, so I watched that one. And then like the male lead in that Cannibal's Tale was Ju-won, and I fell for him like instantly. And incidentally, after that, of course, I had to watch. He was in The Good Doctor, and he was so fine in that. And even though there is an American TV show which is based off of the Korean drama The Good Doctor that's really popular in America, so I think it's hilarious because people be like, "Why do you watch K-dramas?" I'm like, "Do you watch The Good Doctor? Are you enjoying the show?" Well, guess what? You're watching the Korean drama, except, Freddie High, what is his name? Freddie Hightower? Freddie
Highmore
Highmore.
or something
Yeah,
like that.
Freddie
Yeah.
Highmore. He ain't no John Woo. So that's why I watched exactly one episode of Good Doctor and decided that the drama was better. Plus, they're going to take it in the States and they're going to drag it out over seasons. And I like the way that K dramas end and you know what happens to the characters and they don't beat them to death. Um, so then after I watched that, Amber's like, well, if you watch that, you have to watch Love Rain because Love Rain's like the best. So I watched Love Rain, and that was like the major rabbit hole because that's when I was introduced to Jung Kyun Suk, and he stole my heart in like seconds. And then I proceeded to watch every single drama he was in. And sadly, he has abandoned Korean dramas for his singing career, basically, which I don't even know that that's doing that well anymore. And I think the last thing I saw him in was Daebak, and that was a history period drama, and I kind of hate those, but I watched it because it was him, and he was still cute. He just wasn't as cute as he used to be. But um, pretty much that was what got me into dramas, and now, like I'm watching a couple now, and I should learn to wait until they're done, so I don't have to wait. But and then am I supposed to go over my favorite dramas now? Or wait.
Maybe you can
Um,
say some of them that's not your top
yeah.
ones,
Or
or we can wait.
yeah.
Doesn't matter.
So editing. No. So Amber, I'm gonna bounce it back to you, or does Allison? Which one do you want to go and tell us what got you into dramas?
I can. That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so for me, it was also around the time, similar to my K-pop intro. It was that Christmas break in 2014 that I had so much time off. So my daughter was watching Dream High, and she pulled me in and said, "Oh, hey, come watch the show with me." And if you know anything about that, it's got a lot of JYP people, and so it has IU and it has Taekyeon and Woo Young from 2PM, and it's just like there's a ton of people in there. So I really had fallen for Kim Soo Hyun, who was in that show, and IU, as well as Taekyeon. And by the time I finished that, I was like, "Ooh, I want to watch the next one." So I watched Dream High 2, and it's got JB and Jin Young from GOT7. So that's how I kind of learned more about GOT7. And since I love Kim Soo Hyun so much, I decided to watch My Love from Another Star. And that to me was kind of like the show that really got me sucked into K dramas. I just love Kim Soo-hyun, him being an alien. Oh my god. If you haven't
He's
seen
so
that
fine.
show, it's so wonderful. The ending had me sobbing. It's just a great it was a great show. So I mean that's sort of how it got me sucked in. And we'll go over some of our favorites in a little bit and the type of shows we like. So Allie, what about you?
All right. Well, I hope my cat Jeannie doesn't pick up on this because it just started running.
Oh no.
Only me. Oh my gosh. Who went to the bathroom in the middle of my K-pop cast? I will kill you,
It's
cats.
a K-drama cast. Come on
Well,
now.
K-drama. You could have waited until I was finished or when we took a
Hey,
break to go use the bathroom.
it's called drama for a reason, Allie. Come
Apparently.
on.
Yes, and I have one right now. My one cat's looking at me like it wasn't me. Anyway, for me, as I said in my introduction when we did our intro in our first podcast, it was K-pop that got me into K-dramas. And it was back in 2007, 2008 when I was rediscovering K-pop again. And of course, the K-pop artist that came around, as I said in my introduction, was Rain, or Jeong Ji-hoon. I hope I pronounce his name right because I'm not good at those things. And I was like, okay. So when I kept digging and digging and digging, I found out he was an actor. And somehow what popped up for me was the show Full House. And Full House came out in 2004. So I'm like, let me watch this. It seems interesting enough. And I was hooked. Now, I wasn't watching K-dramas full time at that moment, but I was hooked. And I kept looking at ways to watch more K-dramas or Asian TV shows. Now, back then in 2007, 2008, there really wasn't a whole bunch of ways to watch K-dramas the way it is now. You had to go to a lot of third-party sites or maybe somebody would upload it on YouTube. But I still try to keep up with it. And then when Drama Fever came out in 2009, which I'm still a
May
little
it rest
sad
in
that Drama...
peace.
Huh?
I miss Drama Fever so much.
I know. We're going to have to mourn and death of Drama Fever. I am so pissed off at Time Warner. I will strangle them because it's their fault we don't have Drama Fever. But we can explain that in a whole nother episode. Oh, so mad. When Drama Fever came around, that site was my haven. That was what I used to watch K-dramas. But also it had telenovelas on it, so I watched some of those. And it started having Korean variety shows and older, newer ones. So they had Viki around that time, but Viki was not that good at that time what it is now. I think if Drama Fever didn't die, Viki would not be what it is to this day. And Viki is a website that's like founded by fans. So back in the day, fans used to translate those dramas, and it was horrible. You watching a drama on Viki, and you might have one episode fully translated. The next episode is 30% translated, so you get yourself lost. So, Drama Fever was what I watched dramas on. And then in 2013, 2014, I went to watch dramas full time. I think part of it was because I moved to another state to where I had no family like miles away, not even miles, like states away. I moved to the Midwest, and most of my family was on the East Coast. All my best friends weren't even around. I made friends, but K-pop and K-dramas was what got me through. So I used to sit down and want to escape a little bit, and K-dramas were it. I mean, hello. If you haven't watched a good K-drama, I don't know what you're missing. And also another thing is there's a lot of lack of diversity. So watching Korean dramas, I got a little bit, culture and stuff like that. 'Cause where I was living at in Missouri, culture was bland like vanilla. No offense to anybody, but it was just not a lot there. So I survive off of K-dramas. 90% of the television that I watch is Asian or Korean television, but I still do watch Western television. But you can thank K-pop for getting me into K-dramas. So, how long have you guys been watching K-dramas now again?
I think 2015, probably right after I got into K-pop. So, what is that, 6 years?
Okay. What about you, Amber?
Yeah, roughly. 2014, 2015. So like right at the end of 2014. So about 7 years.
I think we all have similar stories that if it wasn't for K-pop, we wouldn't have found K-dramas. Because another thing about K-dramas is a lot of K-pop actors are or K-drama actors or K-pop idols, excuse me, are K-drama actors and vice versa. K-drama actors become idols or singers. Apparently in Korea, to be a triple threat to act, sing, and dance is one of the major things. Here in the States, you don't see that as much, where somebody who is a singer and an actor. There are some people who are, but you don't see it as much
Mandy
as in
Moore.
Korea. Yeah, Mandy Moore is.
Mandy Moore.
Who else? I'm trying to think. I know. Man, it's
All the
hard
guys
to.
on Glee.
Justin
Yes,
Timberlake has
Magnus
yes.
Payne.
acted.
Who was
Justin
Magnus Payne
Timberlake.
again, Amber? On
Oh, Harry
Shadowheart?
Shrum.
Yeah, Harry Shum. He's
Mm-hmm.
triple.
Yep, for
And all the people
sure.
on Glee. Definitely all the guys on Glee.
Yeah.
Guys and gals. Not
Yeah.
that I watched Glee.
You didn't?
Glee, yeah,
Oh
they
No.
all
God,
are.
I did. I
You didn't
probably
watch
watched every
Glee?
episode of that show.
No, for
Oh
some reason I don't know
my gosh!
why.
What were you doing, Amy?
I was watching K-pops and K-dramas apparently. I don't know. One my
You
thing.
guys good?
But yeah.
Oh.
So then so we could list some of our favorites because I'm sure we all have our favorites. Not necessarily the ones we've watched over and over, but definitely favorites. Um or are they ones we watched over and over? Does it matter?
I mean, we can go with the top three ones we watched over at the end, but we can discuss some of the ones
Okay.
that we watched since now we're, discuss a little bit about how we got into K dramas. What are some of the ones that you would suggest to our audience to watch? Some of your favorites.
Okay. So, yeah, these are my favorites. So definitely Love Rain because of Jang Kyun Suk and he's fine. And then I Am Not a Robot. Cannot remember who the lead was in that one, but loved it. Hawarang. If you're a BTS fan, you have to watch Hawarang. How do you pronounce it? I'm putting too much of an R on it, I'm sure, because I'm
Padadong.
what? Say it again.
Yeah, Padadong. Padadong. I'm not going to pronounce it great
See,
either.
I was phonetically Hawarang. See, so I'm pronouncing it wrong all this time, but it's got V from BTS, and I cannot wait until that boy has time to act in other dramas because I want to see him as a lead
Hmm.
because he did such a good job.
Yes, I love that one.
I call the show W, but you guys call it. There's more of a name to it than that.
Yeah, W2 Worlds.
Two Worlds.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that and While You Were Sleeping, a romance and a bonus book. Basically, anything Lee Jong Suk, you
Yep.
have to watch. It's mandatory, and there will be a test.
Okay.
And then, um, and this is a J drama. So Good Morning Call. It's on Netflix. Good Morning Call 1 and 2. I think I've watched both of them at least 3 times. And I don't know how to pronounce his name exactly, but Shunya Shirashi will just rock your world because there's something about his quiet, just can't even describe it. There's something brooding about this actor that pulls you in and you could watch him do anything. But Good Morning Call, if you have Netflix 1 and 2, it's still on Netflix and definitely a must watch, but that is a Japanese drama. It's not a K drama. But if you're reading subtitles, what difference does it make? Good, it's still a cute story. So Amber, which ones do
Yeah,
you
it doesn't matter.
what's your
'Cause
faves?
yeah.
Okay, so some of the ones you listed are definitely also on my list. Love Rain is on my list. My Love from Another Star is definitely on my list. And then Uncontrollably Fond, which is it's one of those one of those that some people love, some people don't love. If you love to cry and you love a good, sad story, it's a great show. It's got Kim Woo Bin in it. I definitely would recommend if you like sort of emotional roller coasters.
And that one was close to home too.
It was
That
very
one
close to home for
that
me.
one
Yeah.
mimicked life a little too close for us, and that's I think why it's such a dear drama to us all.
Yeah, I think we both were a little more sensitive to that show than a lot of people that I've known that's watched it. I actually was on in a group chat on Facebook where they were talking about that show, and there was some people that just absolutely couldn't stomach watching it for more than a couple episodes. But then I was like, oh no, I watched everything because I knew from just what, and I won't spoil, but I just knew from early on what was going to happen. So that was, it's one of those shows that is very close to my heart. Really, really liked The Best Hit. It has Yoon Chi-yoon in it. It's a really funny show. If you like funny, it's a good one because it's the first time. It has Park So-dam, who was in Parasite. So the girl that was in Parasite, she's in that. It's also got, I think, Minho from Shiny's in it, if I remember right. I can look really fast and tell you. There's another actor, Kim Min-jae, and seeing him on that show, I didn't love the song Let's Not Fall in Love by Big Bang until I watched that show, and he's the reason why, because he sings it in that show. Such a good, I reckon if you'll kind of notice, a lot of the shows I watched were back in 2015 and 2016. I haven't watched a ton of newer shows just because I tend to watch more music related stuff than I do K-dramas. But that's another one. Flower Boy Ramen Shop. Oh my God. Please watch that. I'm not even going to tell you anything about it. Just watch that show. And then Cheer Up, which I believe had Eunji from A-Pink in it. And somebody from, I think, In from VIX. And that was very cute. Yeah, I have some absolute faves, but I'll share those in a little bit. Allie, what about you? What are some of your favorite shows? Or what would you recommend?
Yeah. One thing is that I don't know any of the actors or actresses' names. I'm horrible at names anyway when I pronounce K-pop. So here I go. Of course, my first one is a variety show, 2 Days and One Night. I love it. And it is one of the, it's in season 1. And I love it. The second show that I like, that's a drama, is Fight for My Way. The same guy who is in Itaewon Class, that main lead, and he's also in What Happens to Secretary Kim.
Oh, I know. I love him. I can't remember his name, but I love him.
Oh, yeah. I know who you're talking about. I'm sort of bad with some of the newer actors too, so I don't give me the line.
He's been in like everything.
He was in that drama with V, the one that you were just talking about.
Yep,
also.
he was in Hot. And Minho was in that one too. I'll look him up.
So
Keep talking.
What is his name?
Hold on.
Hang on. Park So-jun. Park So-jun.
Yeah. Yep.
That's who it
is. We could have just his last name was Park. We should have just done that and guessed. Everybody's last name is Park. It's like Smith over there.
He's been in everything.
Yes, and I have watched.
He literally has been in everything.
Uh-huh. Yes, I watched 2 of his movies before that I love. He is one of my favorite actors. I love him. And then there is Flower of Evil, and there is also Less Than Evil, which I love.
I'm sensing a theme.
Flower of Evil. If you want a movie where it has to do with somebody being somebody else and a murder mystery and your wife is a cop and they find out that you may have been a murderer, yes. Flower of Evil is it. Less Than Evil. That one is based off of the BBC show. Huh? Less Than Evil.
Is that a sequel or something?
No, it's actually a whole different drama that's based off of the BBC television show Luther. So Korea remade it, and it was just as good as the BBC show. And that's another thing. Korea does remake a lot of Western TV shows, but again, they're only like 1 season. What else? Justice, which has, oh my gosh, what is his name? He is adorable too. in it. But I like that one. That's a really good drama. I like you said. You will find out what type of dramas I like. Love O2O is a Chinese drama. It's a romance drama. It is so cute. I love the way it ends. I love the romance. And I used to watch a lot of romance dramas, but I'm more into something different. But this one has your heart. I love that they didn't have to struggle as much for the relationship. It was really done well. Goblin. Who doesn't love Goblin? I think even people who really don't
Ooh,
watch
loved
a lot
it.
of dramas, yes, Korean dramas, know about this drama. I cried. And I'm
I
not going to
haven't
tell you
watched
what
it
it
yet.
is. Oh my
Me
gosh, I'm
too.
going to throw a rock at you,
I have
Amy.
not watched it yet.
What is wrong with you?
I don't
What is
know.
wrong with
I
you?
cry over everything though.
Isn't it
That
a period
drama,
piece? Doesn't it
it's,
go back
it,
though in history a lot?
no, it does start out in a historical, but it stays in modern day. It does go
All right.
back a little bit to explain some of the history of the Goblin, but him and the Grim Reaper, oh, that was one of the best romances I have ever seen in a drama. And then the regular romance between the Goblin and the female lead. I'm sorry, I died because I normally don't cry at dramas, but I was heartbroken. But like I said, I'm not going to explain anymore in case you haven't seen it. Man to Man is a hilarious. Yes, Amy, you better watch and we will take notes.
Okay.
Man to Man is a hilarious, funny drama. It is. It cracks me up. It has a little action in it and everything, but I love it. It's on Netflix, by the way. And then the other two little shows that I watch, variety show, My Little Old Boy, which I have talked about before. It's a variety show where men who haven't married, and I guess in Korea they call them ugly ducklings because they don't know why they're not married, are being taped. It's almost like a reality TV show and everything. And what it is that their moms come on the show and talk about the escapades and things that they do, okay, on the show. And what else? And also, I said Immortal Songs, Singing the Legend. That is a show we talked about not too long ago in an episode. That's another one that I watch. And every weekend, I watch 2 days and one night, My Little Old Boy, Immortal Songs, and also Running Man. And Running Man is sad because I think last week, or maybe this week, but I believe it was last week, Kwang Soo, one of the main characters on Running Man, left. It was his last episode. The cast cried. They didn't cry this bad when Gary left or whatever the other guy is. I forgot who he is. But yes, so yeah, that is what I watch. I know we're all over the place with this episode. So we're going to take a quick 15-second break and then we'll get back into our chat on Korean dramas and why we love them. Don't forget to subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube and to like the video, give a thumbs up, and hit that notification bell and follow us on all social medias. We'll be right back.
And we are back. So, our lovely audience, you just heard our backstory about Korean dramas and also some of the shows that we would recommend to you guys. So, now the question is, why do you love Korean and Asian television? What makes you watch a show that's subtitled? Because we know you may hear that a lot. Oh, why would you sit there and watch something that's subbed? I don't get it. So why do you love that? Let's start. How about Amy? What do you think about Korean shows in general? What do you like about it most? And are you cool with subtitles?
Surprisingly, I think subtitles actually it's supposed to make you smarter because I think, or in the long term, I think it's supposed to help with like Alzheimer's and stuff
I don't
because you
know.
are reading and following at the same time, and the more you do it, the better at it you get. But I would say that the thing that gets me most about Korean dramas in general, I love that it's the whole story is in one installment and it doesn't drag on for years. But the biggest thing that I love is the fact that men are allowed to feel and they're allowed to cry and it's okay. And that the male characters can get fall just as deeply in love as the female characters. They can get hurt and they can get completely wrecked over a woman and it's acceptable. And like here, everything is like, oh, there's so much machismo BS on all of our shows. The guys can never cry. They can never show raw emotion. And it's just like frowned upon. And I just love the way that the guys take care of the girls and it's just it's just a whole different thing. And then if you couple that like with the good stories, like to me, if I don't break down at some point and ugly snot face cry, it's not a good drama. I mean, and not all of them are gonna do that because there are ones that are funny, but I prefer to like feel it and be like just be wrecked. If I'm wrecked when it's
Mhm.
done, I'll watch it over and over again. But and I love like all the classic like K-drama stuff, like the piggyback rides and the way these women can drink these men under the damn table. I absolutely love it. And if somebody, the minute you have a fever, oh my God, you have a fever, you have to go to the hospital. I love it. And like putting ointment, if you go and get ointment and put a band-aid on somebody's finger, obviously you love them. Um if you if you shield, like if you shield, the guy's always shielding the woman from like the rain with the umbrella,
The
or
umbrella
like
scenes.
saving her from a runaway moped. I mean, this is love. This is love.
A
It's
runaway
cheesy
moped
as
is the
hell.
best.
Exactly, saving them, and it's so cheesy, but it totally works. So, if you're romantically, I mean, it gets the job done, so you feel like you got your romance. So that's what I love most about them. Amber, what would you say is your favorite?
Well, I think when I started watching K dramas in genuine, one of the things that I liked most about it is that we could binge watch, and binge watching wasn't so. It wasn't like a thing here in America at the time. Like we were just kind of starting to get Netflix, and like you'd have to when like order them online and they would send you stuff, like send you like DVDs and stuff like that. But for K dramas, if you went on Drama Fever, you could sit and watch like a whole drama over a weekend. Or if you were out sick on a day, you could sit there and watch all day long and lay in bed and just ugly snot cry like you said over over some guy that held an umbrella and
Oh yeah.
saved a girl from a moped, that kind of thing. So that was one of the things that really got me into it to start. I also, like Allie had said earlier, because so many K-pop idols are acting, I think I tend to gravitate towards my favorite idols when they do act on a show. I know when Baekhyun was in Moon Lovers, a Scarlet Heart Rio show, I watched because of him. Like he was the reason why I watched the show. I mean, there were other reasons. There were all the other actors that were in the show, but I was like, oh, Baekhyun's in a show. I gotta watch it. When EXO did EXO Next Door, they all acted in that little web drama. It was so cute. I recommend that show. It's just nice to see musicians act because you don't really see like y'all were saying earlier, you don't really see, especially boy bands, act so much. Like, okay, we had what were those boys? Amy, you know who I'm going to say?
Big Time Rush. Big Time Rush. Oh, I miss them
Yeah.
so much.
So, like, besides, like, Big Time Rush and, like, the Beatles and the Monkees and maybe, like, the New Kids on the Block cartoon, there really hasn't been a lot of, like, boy bands that have acted on, like, on a TV show. So when EXO did that show, it was new to me. I was like, oh, wow, you know, they're doing something new and different that I haven't seen quite like that in America. And I don't know. I do love all those Korean tropes, the piggyback rides, and just, you know, somebody's always going to get ran over, somebody's always going to end up in the hospitals. And then,
oh wait, the IV when they're a little rundown, like everybody has IV drips in their house.
Yeah.
Or they just rip it out when they're ready to go.
I want to know, do you guys sleep with your lamps on at night? Does everybody sleep with their lights on?
I have a nightlight. Yeah.
But no, with actual light. I mean, every Korean drama I've ever seen, they go to sleep and the lights are on in the room. It's the strangest thing.
I think it's a lighting thing.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
when you look that good, leave the lights on, right?
Oh, my God.
I guess it's the TV shows they have to put the light on so you can watch them. You can see them.
You can actually see what they're doing. So, I mean, those are some of the things that I like as far as K-dramas are concerned. And then I just love, as far as Korean and Asian shows overall, I'm really into the music shows. I love watching, you know, M Countdown and SBS The Show and Inkigayo, everything like that, and really into like Return to Superman, where you get to see all the dads and the babies. God, that's just like that's it.
We Got Married. I love watching the We Got Married.
Oh yeah,
yes,
yeah. I don't think they do that anymore, do they? I think they kind of stopped that.
Yeah, I watch I'll watch clips on YouTube. Tama Got Married one. Oh.
Yeah. So, I mean, I love those variety type shows, kind of like Allie, where you get to see the idols and actors and just variety type celebrities do different things, do fun things. It's different and it's fun, and you don't quite get that kind of thing in America either. And I do kind of like that throwback kind of style variety show that we just don't really see. It's kind of starting to get popular here, but I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that there are so many Korean American people that are involved in bringing TV shows over here. There's a guy that I follow. His name is Sebastian, and he was one of the ones that actually, I think, wrote on The Good Doctor in Korea, and so he helped bring that over here with I think it was Daniel Day Kim who helped bring that as well. And then there, I know the dude that's on, and Amy, you'll probably know this better than I will. Ken Jeong, that does
on The Masked Singer.
On The Masked Singer, he helped.
Yeah, he brought over a couple of them. Masked Singer and the one Guess Your Talent or the Masked Talent or whatever the heck it is.
I Can See Your Voice.
That's it. I can see your voice.
I Can See Your Voice. That's
I only watch The Masked Singer, and if I can get past, you know, Jenny McCarthy's boobs and Alan Thicke's gigolo chain, but you know, it's got Nicole Scherzinger. She's my girl crush, so I'll watch it. But the outfits, they're pretty, but you don't need all that. But that's a whole other show.
Yeah.
But sure. I do love the fact that it's doing so well over here, and you know, they stole it, but at least Ken Jeong brought it over, so it's okay.
Yeah, I don't really think that they're stealing. I think they're trying to bring the best of, because a lot of the TV shows in America, I mean, if you look at, I know we've talked about this a little bit, they're bringing back shows that have only been gone maybe 5 or 10 years, like Gossip Girl.
Yeah, God, no.
Like all of these other shows that have been on, that they're just recycling them again. So I think it's great that they are bringing different things to America. And I know we're sort of off topic, but it helps bring something fresh. To
Yes.
see something different. And yeah, we may not like it as much as we like the Korean versions, but thank God for just something different. I'm
Exactly.
just
Yes.
so tired of like seeing Love Island come on 5 times a week and stuff like that. It's
And how many SVU shows are there now? I mean, there are
a
like
million.
I thought there's only
15
two.
million of them.
Well, now
Uh-uh.
there's only. I think on the ones that are on air, it's only two of them, right?
But I mean, there's like Criminal Minds SVU, da 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 da. I mean, there's like 19 of them. And
There's a
if I
lot
see
of
one more
plot
doctor show,
shows.
I'm gonna. The only doctor
Mhm.
show I'll watch is The Resident, and that's because it's got Matt Zuckery from Gilmore Girls on it. But I can't do
Ah,
doctor shows anymore either. But
Yeah.
we're way off topic. So Allie, what do you like about K dramas? Let's turn that boat around and go back toward where we're supposed to be.
Do. um, what I like is a lot of the same things you guys said. It's because I can binge watch the whole season. Like Amber was saying, before Netflix is what it is today, when I started watching K dramas, especially older dramas that got uploaded, you can watch the whole season in a weekend. I love that. And also now with Netflix and Hulu and all other different services that are coming on, you can binge watch any show. But I think K dramas was the originators to binge watching TV because sometimes even if you're watching a new K drama, they might show 4 episodes in a weekend, and you're sitting up there and you will watch all 4 episodes. Also, like you guys said, when it's done, it's done. Yes, I still watch Western television, and I do like that certain shows go on in season after season. Yes, I love SVU, and I
I
like the
too,
fact that it
honestly.
continues on season after season. But the only reason why I like it is because they do new cases, and a lot of the cases that come on the show is from real life. So, and you still follow the characters' lives, but it doesn't overpower the whole episode. You're watching about the case. So I like weird things like that, like crime shows and things like that. So I can watch that all day. But I love that in K dramas. When the season is done, it's done. And it wraps up. You might not like the way it wrapped up. You might be pissed off at the ending, but that's it. You got to suck it up and let it go and go find another drama. Now, are there dramas that have more than one season? Yes, there are. And sometimes when a drama comes out with a second season, they have a whole new cast and it has the same premise from the first season, but it's a whole different new storyline. Sometimes I don't like that as much, but it's okay. I still like drama, K dramas, because when it's done, it's done. The storylines. I don't know how these K drama writers write, but the storylines that they put out on a lot of dramas, some of them do flop, it's just magnificent. Like they come up with these characters, they come up with the plots, how the placement of the scenes, from everything from the staging to the look, all of that. I just love it. You know, even simple things, how a rich girl, a rich boy falls in love with a poor girl, a poor boy, and they make it into this magnificent love story that also might have revenge in it somewhere. And then you have an angry mother-in-law who somehow is doing something illegal, and it just comes up at the end. It's just one of the best stories. And then at the end of it, you're like, damn, I can't believe I sat there and watched this whole thing. It doesn't make sense to me, but you get yourself engaged into the story, especially a story that's unbelievable. I love the romance in K dramas. I love the fact that some of it is just very simple things. Like I love how Amy was saying with the umbrella, you know, you love you put a band-aid or some ointment on somebody that shows how you love somebody. I think a lot of the times in Western television, we don't see the simple, except for This Is Us. I think This Is Us does that very well. We don't see the
Hmm.
simple gestures of when you love somebody or when you like somebody. I mean, it's all over the top, and next you know, it's bam, bam, wham, thank you, ma'am, and the sex and the bed and all that other stuff. That's what you see. That's how you know, or
Yeah,
they're getting this big old, huh?
yeah, like K dramas have like a slow burn, and
Yes,
it's coming and it's coming. You see it growing and everything. I mean, they meet on
yes,
these like over here. It's like they meet and bam, it's done. They're
it's
doing it
there.
nasty. It's
Yes,
just
or you can
there.
see the tension, you know, Or then they get in
Yeah.
this big old argument, and you're sitting there like, oh my gosh, and then they end up sleeping with each other. So I'm not saying every drama does that, but K-dramas make you appreciate the simple things like little love letters or somebody making them a lunchbox,
Oh
and
yeah,
dropping it
little
off.
heart-shaped lunchbox with the little carrots
Yes,
and a heart.
yes, you love it. And you love it. I'm saying like, oh my gosh, that's how you know somebody loves you. So it's little things, and they appreciate, or when they bend down and they tie the girl's shoe. I just love that because you see the look on their face, and the girl just sits there, and the guy just, and she's like, my
And
heart
she's
pounding.
in awe that he tied
Yes,
her shoe. Whereas like over here, gotta be like, dumbass, your shoe's untied.
yes.
He
Be
wouldn't
careful,
tie
you
it.
trip.
He'd call you stupid because it was untied, but he won't tie it. He's not bending
He,
down for you. He don't care.
he sure ain't. He gonna tell you better tie your shoe before you fall. And if you fall, I'm gonna laugh at you. I'm gonna make sure you're
If you
okay, but
fall,
I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna
laugh at
laugh.
you.
I ain't taking you to the hospital. I'm not buying you a Band-Aid. It's all on you.
No ointment.
We're not even drinking.
We sure aren't. I got water. Amber's like, what
Oh,
happened?
Lord. Amber's like, God, I wish I could hear them again.
No, I can hear y'all. I can hear y'all.
I'm crying over here. But that is funny. Yeah, because I do see that. And people at my job like, why do you watch these things? I'm like, they are just love
Mhm.
and everything. And I just love it. And it reminds me of a lot of did I put that in here? I think I did, maybe in another part, but it reminds me of TV shows I used to watch back in the day, when I was a kid and stuff like that. But also, I love the slapstick comedy. I'm a sucker for somebody getting smacked in the head or they trip over and fall. That's why I love Running Man. Running Man is full of slapstick comedy. I just love it. It is just one of the best things ever. I love it. Let's see. Anything else that I love about it? The feisty female leads who takes out the stuck up male or the male who thinks he's better than anybody. I love that. Um, I just love everything about it. And like I love what Amy said, when a grown man cries, oh my gosh, especially when their heart gets broken or they lose somebody, you don't see that in Western dramas as much anymore. I mean, when he breaks down and cries and you feel that pain, you're sitting there like, oh, I don't know, your heart goes out. And it shows it is okay. Even though Korea does have that manly man thing, it still shows that it's okay to have those emotions. So, and like I said, the Asian television shows are very similar to the past. Like you guys said, and I do agree, they are bringing a lot of stuff back. He-Man is coming back. If nobody knows, the cartoon He-Man is coming back on Netflix. So if you don't know that, He-Man is coming back. So if you never seen He-Man before, it's going to be awesome. And there's also a lot of let me see, any other shows? No,
I
but I do
saw
remember.
a preview for Celebrity Dating Game is coming back.
Oh wow. Yeah, a lot of variety shows are starting to come back, and I think because a lot of people don't stay at home the way they used to versus, I guess, overseas, maybe people have more time to actually watch a lot of TV shows, and especially like daytime variety shows. Because you think about it, we used to have all those game shows back in the day, and we don't have it now. So
Mhm.
I don't know,
It
but they're
seems like
coming
there's
back.
more though now than there was like 5 years ago, and I think part of it has to do with COVID too. Just the fact that it was a lot easier to do a game show with a smaller set and a smaller production crew than it was to be to do a full out like drama or something like that, where they couldn't really get everybody because of COVID concerns. Is sort of what I thought was going on with some of it. I know there's a lot of like game night shows that are going on. There's tons of that on television now. I think variety shows have really made a comeback here in America. Game
Yeah.
shows.
Do you guys remember that one variety show here in the US where celebrities from different what you call it?
Networks?
Yeah, and compete with
Are you
each
talking
other?
Battle of the Network Stars.
Yes. See, they have stuff like that over in Korea. They don't have that here. So what I'm thinking what has happened is Korea has looked at our television stuff, especially from the 80s and 90s and maybe from a little 70s. And that's how K-dramas became about. I mean, I knew they had their own shows, and when they started doing their own television stuff, especially, which I don't know when their TV shows came, because if you look at history, they were ruled by the Japanese. So I think it probably was after World War II, maybe around then, not 100% sure. But I think that's what they did. When they started rebuilding their country, they had to find something to make a template for, and I think that was it.
Also, don't forget, we used to have like soap operas here that played every day.
Yes.
We still do. What are you talking about?
Yeah, there's hardly any left, though. What's left? General Hospital and Young and the Restless?
General Hospital,
Days of Our Lives.
Bold and the Beautiful, Days of Our Lives.
And yeah, those are the only ones I think right now.
Are they still on? I don't know. I
Yeah.
stopped watching after when
And
they
All My
kept my
Children's
Madison
coming
World
back
Turn.
too.
No.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. It's going to be on, I
used to
think,
watch that.
HBO Max.
Well, sure. I'm not paying
Yeah,
for
'cause
Susan
beforehand-
Lucci. Come on.
Well, see, beforehand when they went off, like One Life to Live, and I think there was another one,
I loved As the
All My
World Turned.
Children,
Mhm.
they were
And All My
on,
Children.
was it Hulu or something like
Yeah,
that?
they were online for a little while.
Yeah, they were online and then they disappeared, and now, because see, I grew up on soap operas, so that's I think
Yeah.
why I love K-dramas so much.
Yeah.
It reminds me of that television. It's like right now, if you want to sit down and watch a, romance or a drama that has action and stuff, you can still watch it with your kids. You can pick which one you want. 'Cause some of them might be a little bit much, depends on their age. But any television show that happens after 8 o'clock, it's very hard to watch with your children here unless you watch Nickelodeon. I don't know what's on Disney or Nickelodeon anymore. And like you guys were saying, also what I love is that a lot of idols are actors and vice versa. I remember back in the day between Disney and Nickelodeon, that's what you got. You got a lot of musicians who were actors on those children's shows or vice versa, and you don't have that now. I mean, Ariana Grande came from Nickelodeon,
Mm-hmm.
Yep, Sam and Cat.
Sam and Cat, and she's on Victorious. Yep. So I don't know. So that's maybe why I love them. I just love it. So where are we at?
I don't know. I feel like we've covered a lot of the topics that we.
We're at C.
Planned.
We're at C.
Yeah. Okay.
Now we're at the parts that we don't like.
Well, we've been talking about that a little bit. Have we talked about that?
A little bit.
Not as much.
Well, like with anything else, people who are listening, and I know we're chaotic. We always say that in every podcast, like, hey, they were chaotic and mess. But even though we love K-dramas and we're just explaining how we love them and how it coincides with some of the television shows we used to watch, we're going to tell you some of the dislikes. And for me, a couple of things, which I think I already went in. One of the thing is when they dress a 20 or 30-year-old like she's 12 or 14. And it happens a lot, and I'm sorry I'm sniffling. My nose I think it's allergies because they mowed the lawn today. But anyway, I think I see a lot in more Chinese dramas where the girl is like boss at her job or in school or something else. And, she takes charge. But then all of a sudden, she dressed down. They dress her like she's 14 or 12. And when she gets around the male lead who she likes, all of a sudden she's helpless and weak. I can't stand that. I don't understand why they do that, but I can't stand that. Also about the lack of physical intimacy or the non-kiss, it annoys me a little bit when they sit there and the girl's eyes are wide open and the boy just sits there, puts his lips on her, and then the camera pans around them. Huh?
And nothing happens.
And nothing happens, and then the next episode comes. But, however, maybe it's because more Western influence. Let me explain. They're getting racy. If you have seen Her Private Life, that first kiss between the male and female lead, boy, I thought they were about to just get it on where they were at. It was all mouth, tongue, everything holding on. You didn't hear the moans and groans. Korea's not going to do that. But
Oh,
it
so
was
what
one
you're
I'm like,
saying, Allison, is you've watched that one a lot. That's what you're
I sure
telling us.
have. I'm sorry. I am a grown ass woman. I have needs. I'm alive. I'm flesh and blood too. And yes, I was like, wait a minute. I had to rewind to double check of what I was watching. Because I'm sitting there like,
Uh-huh.
did you
That's
see
why she
this?
rewound, Amber. She rewound it just to
Exactly.
make sure she got it right the first
I was
time.
making sure. And it was the best thing.
Doing it for
And she even,
science.
yes, yes.
Yeah. Underneath the captions, Allison's gonna have like digital numbers saying exactly where you need to go on certain dramas.
Where you need to watch. And they even spend the night with each other. They're not even married, and they even spend the night with each other on numerous occasions. I don't know if
See,
they did anything, but
that's one of the things that gets me, Allie, though. I can understand if you're watching the school age dramas, nothing's gonna happen there. Like high school, a lot's not gonna
hmm
happen. But when you're looking at like 30 people in their like late 30s, approaching 40s, or like late 20s, approaching 30s, that they sit there and lie next to each other and they each have their own little blanket and oh God, let's not touch. Come on. Korea's got people. That means somebody's getting down if they've got a
yes,
population. Babies are coming
but
from somewhere. So don't tell us that 30-year-olds are not doing nothing. I
yeah,
mean,
we wish,
yes,
yeah.
it's more reserved,
It is,
but
and that's because of their culture. Because a lot of things have to go through the review board, especially if you're a local station like SBS, NBC, and KBS. But your cable station like TVN, OCN, and there's another or JBTC.
mhm.
Those push the limits a little bit, especially a lot of these shows that
Oh,
work
I
with
didn't know there was a
Netflix.
difference.
Yes, they are like cable, so they still have to go through a review board. However, because they're not on local television like we have ABC, CBS, and NBC, they're like your cable television shows you get to pay for, like what is a cable show like?
Showtime.
Well, almost like that, yeah. But people have to understand Korea is not as innocent as it seems. You have to go into their movies. They have risque movies. They have Skinemax movies. Like if anybody grew up back in the day when Cinemax was out there and there was a certain time late at night that your parents say you cannot watch Cinemax,
Oh
they
yeah.
have those type of movies. So Korea's not as innocent, but for
See,
their
you
television
all can't
show,
see this, but Amber's smiling like ear to ear right now. You all can't see it, but as soon as she said a certain time of night, Amber just smiled like she knew exactly what
Oh,
time
I
that was.
we
know.
all get it.
Yeah.
Especially the ones where you didn't get the channel, but you still turned it on and
And
you
you
were
can
watching the
see
waiting
like
throughs and you try to see if you can see something.
you would see those lines and like the
Yes,
snowy, but you can just get a little bit of whatever was going on. Yeah.
Oh
yes.
Oh
Lord.
yeah.
You heard the moans and groans and you're like, oh, I saw it. I saw one.
Oh god.
But like I said, Korea has their own stuff like that. It's just that for television, because they're, a family watching, anybody can turn it on. They're a little conservative. But if they have racy scenes, they do um, up the rating from 13 to 15 or 19. Because in the show Misty, there was an episode where they were getting it on and they had to up the rating to 19. And even in Lawless Lawyer, there was a kissing scene in there, and they spend the night with each other. So you don't know if they did something or not, but they did. And also in
There
um
was a really good kissing scene in The Bride of Hambach.
I haven't
Um,
seen that one yet. That's
it
the
going up the
Water God.
stairs. Yeah,
Yeah.
Water God. Yeah, going up the stairs. It was pretty good. It was definitely worth the rewatch. Maybe,
Yeah.
I probably rewound a couple times during that.
So I think it's getting better, but I don't like the ones where they do just to the face, and it just looks weird to me. You're grown people, and I get that you have to be tasteful, and I think they
Right.
can still be tasteful when they do it. But when the girl's eyes open and the boy's just standing there and not moving like he's a limp noodle, oh come on, it
Yeah.
doesn't it
Wait,
doesn't make sense.
how about when somebody throws their arms around somebody and the other person stands there with their arms
With
straight
their
down.
arms down.
Like,
Yep.
Yes.
like a cardboard
Can't stand
character,
that.
like I can't possibly touch you back. Like
Yes.
what's gonna happen? It's like, I don't know if anyone explained the birds and the bees to you, but trust me, you can hug them back. It's okay.
Unless you can't control yourself, but
Maybe
you
that's what
usually
it
just
is.
That's a
you
whole
put
That's
your
what it is.
butt out and you don't hug them to the front. You just do the arm hug.
The
Or
men are so fine that you can't risk it. Just stand there.
that's why I'm glad I'm a woman, because you don't have to worry about that issue of them knowing what's going on. You just sit there and just breathe through it. But a man, when it's
Yep. Yep. You know what though? One of the things we didn't mention that
hmm,
K-dramas are excellent with the cliffhangers. That's why you binge
yes,
watch. Because
yes,
it'll be, 11:45 and you got to get up at 6 in the morning, but
yep.
you're like, I just got to see the first couple minutes because I have to know what happened. And then it
Oh,
sucks you in. And then you're going to work looking like you haven't slept but 1 hour because you could
yes.
not turn it off.
Oh,
So
yeah. And I
the
don't like
cliffhangers, they're excellent
suck.
at the cliffhangers.
They're great at it,
Oh,
but it sucks at the same
yeah,
time.
yeah. And then they show you the preview of what's going to
Yes.
happen. You're like, ooh, if I just watch the next one, I'll know.
Yes, and then when you turn on the next one, they go about like 5 minutes. The first 5 minutes is the very end of the
Oh,
last episode, and you're sitting there like, why? I already saw this part. I know what happened. I don't. You just wasted 5 minutes of my time. I can't get back. Now I got to watch 5 more minutes to see where it goes. Oh man, you didn't get to the point. I got to watch 5 more minutes, and then you notice you watch 3 more episodes. It's 2 a.m. in the morning. You get up at 5.
they're like potato chips. You can't stop.
No. So, so Amber, is anything that you dislike about him? Me and Amy just been yapping
Um,
away.
no. I also get a little annoyed about the lack of physical intimacy. But it really does kind of depend on the show. One of the things that sort of irks me is just that a lot of shows kind of follow the similar pattern, particularly like towards the end of the show when you sort of get a resolution and then all of a sudden 5 years passes or 10
Oh
years
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
passes.
yes,
And then they randomly meet up at some function or they randomly like connect and blah blah blah. It just always happens. And there's always those other tropes like we were talked about earlier, like the umbrella scene or the rain scene or the getting on somebody's back because they're drunk and they have to get them home, or what, the hospital, the moped. um I like it when it's done cleverly, but there's a lot of times when it's just done.
yeah,
And that,
Yeah, like you have to hit those points.
yeah,
yes.
yeah. And that tends to happen a whole lot. One of the shows that annoyed me more than anything in the world was Cheese in the Trap. I don't know if y'all watched that show.
I was
I
told
do
not
not,
to watch it. I didn't.
do not recommend. It's one of probably the most debated about why it sucks so bad. The ending was awful, awful, awful. I don't like Park Hae-jin specifically because of that show. I will not watch the movie version because he is in it. His character is horrendous. He's just bad. And they try to make him. I heard that they try to make him a little more likable in the movie. I don't know if that's true. I refuse. But that it kind of comes back to the whole second lead syndrome, where
hmm
So Kang Joon was in it, and I love him. He's like one of my favorite actors ever, ever, ever. And he was so likable in the show. And not to spoil it, but a lot of people have seen it. They just it it just just cuts off. It just doesn't really do anything with him. And I wanted her to end up with him. I can't stand Heijin, or the character that he played in that show. So
Wasn't it after a web drama or webtoon?
it was a webtoon, and
And then the
from what I
webtoon was
remember,
better.
the writer had a specific ending that she had in mind, and they
hmm
didn't do the ending that she had in mind. So they went back and they created the movie version that I think she had a little more to do with, and she did it the way she wanted to. but I still don't want to watch it because I don't like. They had somebody else play the second lead, and I'm like, no, if it's not Kang-joon, I don't want to see it. I'm not going to torture myself and go through Hae-jin again for the same bullshit. It it does irk me a lot of times that even if you have a really, really well likable second lead, that it's rare. I've only seen a few shows where the second lead gets the girl. I won't say which ones I've seen that's like that because that's a definite spoiler.
That's a spoiler.
But there are some that are really well done that they do end up with the second lead. So when we all tend to root for the second lead, and it just sucks when you've got somebody so great in that character and they just whether it's a ratings problem or an actor problem, or the main actor gets up in his panties like I heard Hae-jin did about about his role. They just sort of did away with Kang-joon, and I hate when shows are like that and they have ratings issues or they have something that happened to the actor. I know recently with that whole thing with I don't remember what the guy's name is, Jung-hyun or something like that had all the problems with being in the drama with the girl from Girls' Generation, but the guy that was just mean the whole time and just pretended like he didn't know anybody and didn't want to talk to anybody because his girlfriend told him not to have any have anything to do with anybody on the set.
Because she's a bit of a crackpot.
Oh,
even though I loved her drama. I gotta say I loved her drama though.
Yeah. So like those kind of like little insides, and I know that happens everywhere, but it just seems like it happens maybe a little more in Korea where something will happen on set or the writings will kind of be going down and then suddenly the show changes. And that bothers me to no end. That's like those are like the main things that really kind of get me about shows.
I think what gets me is when they run out of steam. Like they start out so good and you're like, and then somehow whatever problem was in the beginning gets worked out like 2/3 of the way through. And then all you have is filler for like 2 or 3 episodes. And you're like, what?
And I think that is what happens is they have something internally that's going on, whether it's a ratings thing or, somebody's not doing well on screen or whatever. And then they change it. And then suddenly we have 4 episodes where it's some really, really stupid second story line going on.
Oh my God. And that's one of the things I cannot stand. If there's too many characters in a drama where it's like I care about the main leads and then there's like 2 or 3 other sub stories going on, and I'll get on my phone because I get so bored, or if the drama starts to get bad, I start fast forwarding just to see the 2 characters I wanted to see. I found most of my favorite dramas are the ones where there's not a ton of characters. There's usually just the main ones, and that's what I want to see. I can't do big casts because I get confused.
There was a show that Key from Shiny is in. I think it's called Drinking Solo, and he was one of the side characters. That show was so boring that him and the actors that played in the side role were way more interesting than the leads. Like,
oh Lord.
I fast forwarded through the leads and just watched the parts that Key and the other people in the side part of it. The show, if it would have just been about them, would have been great. But it, like the main guy and him drinking alone all the time, it was so dull. I'm like, let's get past this and let's just show Key more because he's the good actor on all of that.
Yeah, see, that's one thing I don't like is when you do have a show's going really great, and I guess they only slot it for a certain amount of episodes, and all of a sudden, like the last 2 episodes, they shove everything in, and they wrap up too quickly, and you're sitting there like, man, you're going great. So either they ran out of budget, or they didn't have enough episodes. So I don't know, but I can't stand that, and the second lead syndrome irks my nerves. It's like, and then also with the extras, a lot of the extra stories. I can follow drama if they have side stories, but it has to be interesting. and it has to coincide with the main people. If it doesn't, just like Amy says, it's like, this is boring. So that a lot of times I just take a break and go do something while it plays through, and then come back and double check and say, oh, if I missed a little bit of the main, I'll rewind back. But I can't stand when they do too many fillers, because it does it injustice to the actors who are on there. And maybe some people might fall in love with them, but it just makes them seem like that's what they are, fillers.
Yeah, they're fillers. Now, I have a question for you two ladies. Does anybody else get cocky and sometimes think that they can actually leave the room while the drama's playing and go in the kitchen to get something to eat, and they're honestly going to know what the hell's going on when they get back?
Yes.
You're cocky enough to think, I can walk away. You
I
understand
can.
Korean.
Yeah. I do it.
Yeah.
And I come back like, damn, I rewind.
Rewind.
Time.
It's like, what the hell was I thinking? No, you can't start dinner. And that's the only thing. It's like, you can't really, you could sort of fold laundry, but you can't multitask when you're watching a drama, because you have to read it. So it's
Yes,
not
and
like
that's the only
you
thing.
can mind-numbingly watch them. You've got to be paying attention.
Yeah, so if
I think
you
that's part
don't
of the
know
reason why.
Korean,
Oh, go ahead.
oh, sorry. If you don't know Korean, it's going to be very hard to multitask because you have to read and everything. So yes, I agree.
Yep.
What were you going to say, Amber?
I don't remember. It's okay.
Oh, my bad. Sorry.
Fleeting thought. It's okay.
Totally derailed.
Oh my gosh. Well, guys, we're almost done with this episode. I noticed that we have a few more things. We're already kind of a little long, so we're going to take a little quick 15-second break, and we'll be right back. We're back. We're almost done. We just have to share our top 3 favorite dramas that we have rewatched over and over, because we're going to wrap this up soon. But first, we're going to sit up here and do a little housekeeping like we always do. First, we would love for you guys to comment so you can tell us what we can improve on, what you would like us to discuss. Is our show too long, too short? If there's anything specific you want to know about K-pop and K-dramas, just let us know. And all the dramas we talked about will be a link. If you're watching this on YouTube, there will be a link to those dramas below. And if it's too long, I will set up a page you can access through Google Drive, and you can see all the links there. So if it's a little too long in the description, I can sit up there and link it for you in a Google Drive doc. Also, if you guys are listening on like Spotify or anything like that, or where you get your other podcasts, head over to our Twitter or Instagram at A3Noonas, and we will try our best to give you guys the information for the dramas that we spoke about. Also, another side note, most of the dramas we talked about you can watch on Netflix, Viki, or Kocowa. All right. And a lot of the information we get about our dramas is on my drama list. So if you want to know anything about K-dramas or Asian television show, go to my drama list. And the best part about my drama list is that you can make your own drama list of shows that you want to watch, plan to watch, or have completed. And it calculates how many hours, like in days, how many days worth of dramas you watch. I love it.
I don't think that's necessary to know, but okay. I don't think I want to know.
You don't want to know how many days or hours?
No.
It's a lot. Mine is a lot. So now we're at the end of our show. Normally at the end of our show, we list, the top 3 songs and artists we are listening to this week. But we're going to talk about the top 3 dramas that we rewatched the most. Now, it might change up as we go on and do more talk about dramas, but we're going to just do our top 3 for right now. So, Amy, head it away.
So, because basically love stories are the things that I love the most, I tend to stay away from historical dramas and school age when the kids are in school, even if the characters are in school for a little while. Those are my faves. But so I made it 4. I broke the rules. So Love Rain, we've said it many times. It used to be on Netflix. It may still be on Netflix, so check that out. Good Morning Call 1 and 2. I Am Not a Robot actually should move up to the top position because I love, love, love that drama. That had everything, and it was entertaining all the way through. And then My Secret Romance, surprisingly enough, there was a slow point, but you gotta love a show that kicks off with a one night stand. So those are my favorite dramas that I have rewatched over and over. What about you, Amber?
I also really kind of like the coming of age school shows. I like sci-fi type shows where there's like either like a dystopian element or just a cool science fiction background to it. I do actually like historical dramas if they have like a fun twist to it, and I'm also like a rom-com kind of girl as well. My favorite, since you said 4, I'll go ahead and say 4 real quick. um my first one would be Who Are You School 2015. Kim So Hyun was in that. And Sung Jae from B2B. It's really good. It's one of those types of shows where it you would think it'd be a cutesy type of school show. It's really not. So that's a good one. My second one would be W Two Worlds. Lee Jong Suk, like Amy said, you can't go wrong with him. And it's
Hmm.
sort of also like a dystopian, like sciency type show. It's real. It was one of the. It's probably the most fun I had watching a drama. And then my favorite one that I could probably watch over and over again is Oh My Venus. It's got Soji Sub. He's been in tons of shows for a long, long time. And Shin Mina, who is Shin Mina is Kim Woo-bin's girlfriend. So
Oh,
lucky
love her.
her,
Okay.
right? And
Lucky,
Yes.
lucky girl.
yeah, it's a story about a girl who's overweight and trying to lose weight. So I related to that. Real super cute. It's got Henry from Super Junior in it. And it's got somebody else that's Sung Hoon, he's an actor.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. He was in the Bride of Hambach. Hambach. He
Oh,
was second.
maybe
Was he second lead? Kinda.
I don't
Did he have
remember.
a Did he have a crush on her?
I
I thought he
didn't
did.
watch that show. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay. Well, he's been in everything. He was just on that one on Netflix that was new that I forget the name of.
Oh,
Go on.
really? I'm going to take your word for it because I don't
He's been in a
know.
lot. He's been in a lot of stuff.
Mhm.
That sounds about. He has been in some stuff. I don't remember what all he's been in. So I married an anti fan. He's going to be
Wasn't
in.
he in Strong Girl Bong Shing too? Bong Shing.
You
He
might be
played a
thinking about
swimmer in
somebody
one.
else. I think you're
Am
thinking of
I?
somebody else. Yeah, this guy's. He was not like the main lead in the show or anything. This is a different dude, but he is going to be in. What show did I just say? So I married an anti fan, which I can't wait
Yeah.
to watch because that was like a show that Chanyeol did in China.
Hmm.
Chanyeol from EXO, and now they're making a Korean version of it. So, yep. So
Yep.
that's my picks. What about you, Allie?
My picks, I probably got a little bit more because I got a new favorite, but most of the dramas that I love and watch are action, revenge drama, suspense and legal, course variety shows, and hospital medical dramas. So the one that I can watch over and over is Remember War of the Sun. Like I said, I don't know these actors. I can't remember their names, but it is a good one. The female lead did play in What's Wrong with Secretary Kim. She's the female lead in that, and she's the female lead in What's Wrong with Secretary Kim. Also, the other two that I love is Taxi Driver, that just finished, with Yi Ji-hoon, I guess is his name. He was in the one Signal and in the movie Architect 101. If you want an action movie with revenge and somebody who embodies like a John Wick persona, Taxi Driver is it. And also it is based off of a webtoon. Lawless Lawyer is another one. The main actor in there was in Flower of Evil, and he was also, I think, in Gunmen and Joseon. And also the female lead is the crazy chick who told her boyfriend to stop, don't be nice to people, whatever her name is, who was in the drama It's Okay Not to Be Okay.
Oh, which
She
I
was
love
in
that
there.
drama. Too bad she's a whack job.
Yeah, she was in that one. And then the other one is Misty and Pinocchio. Misty is a really good drama about a woman who is a news anchor. She has everything together in her life. She also sits up there and she has a lawyer husband, but she gets embroiled in a, not a scandal per se, but her ex-lover is killed. You know, even though her ex-lover is married to somebody killed, now she has to prove her innocent, but also try to save her marriage and save her job because she's an older woman and she's a news anchor. So it seems like they want to phase her out for somebody young. So it's a really good drama. And Pinocchio is just an adorably cute love story with revenge.
Oh, that is cute. I love it.
Oh, it is. I forgot what the female lead, who she is, but her character is that she can't lie. Every time she tries to lie, she hiccups, and they call it Pinocchio syndrome. And she meets this boy who happens to become into her family and has a past. And the past has to deal with her news anchor mother. So they grow up together, even though they're not real siblings, but the girl's grandfather did adopt the boy. And they grow up with each other, liking each other, but then they have to find out about his past and how her mother had a hand in him and his past and losing his family. So it's a really cute drama. I love it. And I love when she starts lying and she hiccups.
That's Park Shin-hee.
Yes.
And Lee Jong-suk. So we all like Lee Jong-suk.
Oh my gosh, yeah. There's another one he starred in that I saw. I can hear your voice. I think that's what it is. Is it that one? Yeah.
I was seeing
There's
that.
a lot of it. Yeah, I think that's what it was. I can hear your voice, or I can see your voice, something like that. Where he's a young, he's in high school, I think his senior year, and he has this extraordinary gift, and he falls for this lawyer who's older. It's a neat movie. It's a neat little TV show. So.
Yeah, he was in that. I'm looking through his list of stuff. I really like
that. That was
There was something
that was
I
one of the
watched.
first ones I watched.
What was the show that I watched that I really liked him in besides that? School 2013 was really good. That's where he got Best New Actor from that show.
Mm-hmm.
That was another super good. I like those school shows.
Yeah, I haven't watched any of those, but I heard they were good. All right. Is anybody else have anything they want to add before we end this lovely chat about K-dramas?
If you guys have anything whatever your favorite show is, let us know.
Yeah, drop it in the comments because we all need new dramas to watch too.
Yeah, for sure. We do. I'm behind, years behind. So tell me what you've been watching.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, I want to thank everybody for joining us today for episode 5. We want to thank each and every one of you who tunes in each Thursday for our podcast. We're still babies in this game. However, we're dedicated to delivering the best of best K-pop news, joys of K-pop, K-dramas, and all that encompass the Hallelujah world. We strive to make this podcast a safe space and hope all who listen feel just as welcome, and we can bring a sprinkle of happiness to your day with our crazy K-drama, K-pop talk, and us going off the rails and not sticking to what we normally say we're going to talk about. But that's the best part about A3Noonas. We are a hot mess, but we are a classy hot mess, like a classy with a K kind of hot mess. Like we can hold it together. You just don't understand. We have a little situation, we could pull it through. It might be with a little bit of duct tape, but it'll stick through until we get home. So that's the type of people we are right now. All right. So till next time, this is Amy, Allie. I'm not Amy. I'm Allie.
See? They're not going to believe it's just water. You realize that?
Oh my gosh. I'm so embarrassed. I'm Allie. And
I'm Amy.
Yes.
And I'm Amber.
Yes.
And together we make up the AAA Noonas Kpop podcast.
Kpop podcast.
Bye, guys.
All right, we'll see you next Thursday.
Bye.
And I don't know why I waved again. Nobody can see me. We're done.
I can see.
Thank you for joining us for episode 5 of A3Noonas Kpop podcast. Next week, Amy, Allie, and Amber will discuss idol biases. Yes, they will discuss their favorite bias from their idol groups. Do not forget to like, follow, and subscribe to A3Noonas podcast and to A3Noonas on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. Again, thank you for listening to A3Noonas, where fangirling comes to life.